Hi, and welcome to Launch Over 40 with Yolanda Kennedy. Today, our guest is Octavia Conner. She is a bookkeeping expert. She is the owner and founder of Smart Accounting Services and has developed a passion for creating procedures and strategies that have helped countless small business owners become very successful. So, Octavia, this is tax season. Small businesses are stressed. I know that when we had talked earlier, you had stated that there was a lot of changes going on in the tax law. So what can small businesses do to kind of make this a little less stressful?
Well, the number one thing that I would recommend small business owners do is to make sure that they have some type of bookkeeping system in place, something that will track all of the cash flow transactions in and out of their business. The number one thing they need to have, of course, is a business checking account, and then just make sure they have some type of tracking system where they can review their profit and loss statement and their balance sheet, at least monthly, but of course, for the tax season, they need to be able to have that itemized and in order.
And, I know there's always that question on how long do you need to keep records?
I recommend people keep them for at least 7 years. The IRS, I believe, is also 7 years that you should keep them. And if you have them electronically, that makes it really, really easy to store your files.
Now, I have to be honest.
What a lot of business owners don't know is that the IRS can go back in your account for 3 years. And then say, for instance, they find something within those 3 years that they're questioning, they can go back an additional 3 years from the date that they discovered the error or the item that's in question. So now they're back 6 to 7 years in your financials. So I say 7 years at the least.
And basically with electronic, it's actually better to hold on to them even a little longer if you don't have to worry about storage space, correct?
Right. If you don't have to worry about storage space, then why get rid of them? You can just keep them, and then, you can look back at them at any given time because they're always there.
Now, a lot of our audience are women who's over 40, 50, and 60 starting a business out, or they're new in business. And I know that sometimes because you're new and you're not necessarily generating a lot of income, people may not see the necessity to have a separate account. So as a, bookkeeper and accountant, what do you say to that?
It is absolutely necessary to have a separate account, and here's why. As a separate entity from your company, you're protected. And say, for instance, something happens, worst case scenario, someone wants to sue your organization. If you have your records separate from your personal, then they can only go after your business, but they can't tap into your personal because everything is separate. You're a separate entity. But if you have your business and your personal together, they can actually go after everything that's listed in that business or that checking account. They can go after everything, and you don't want that. Having a separate entity from yourself protects you from different tax laws and different rules and regulations, and you benefit because you have credit and deductions that you can take as a business owner that you can't take on your personal taxes.
So for the people who are new, I know that this is an issue for 1099 independent contractors, and a 1099 independent contractor is just a person that don't necessarily work for the company but represent them somehow, sometimes sales or something like that. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily have a separate account for that. So if you're 1099, is it the same system? You definitely want something separate?
No, if you're 1099, unless you're running under your business name, if you are a 1099, you do not need a separate checking account. Again, unless it's under your business name. Some people are 1099s and they're under, for example, ABC Corporation. So in that case, they need a separate business checking account. But if you're just 1099 because you're coming in freelancing, then no, you do not need a separate checking account for that.
So would you be in the same situation, or if there's an issue with something that you may be, somebody can come after you personally and professionally?
Yes.
even as a 1099.
But then you're running as a personal. You're not running as a business. You're running as just yourself. So if, something happens, yes, they can come after you. But again, you're not, unless you're going to run under ABC Corporation, for example, then yes, they can still come after you as yourself.
Okay, so maybe if somebody's a 1099, they want that sort of protection, it might be worth going ahead and create an LLC or incorporation.
I think so, yes.
So one thing I do want to talk to you about, we're going to go back to some tax questions and stuff, but I really was interested and intrigued because I know that you have a passion for creating procedures and strategies that help small business owners. So tell me a little bit about that, because I have to be honest, I do have a CPA and he's been very helpful, but, I'm really interested in some strategies or procedures you have came up with over the years working with small businesses.
Well, basically one of the things that I like to do is to make sure that we have systems in place to where when your company grows, no matter who comes in and fills a position for you, they will have a system to run by, so we're not recreating the wheel. And then if someone leaves your organization, the knowledge of how to complete the job is not leaving with them because they're running by the system that you have in place. One of the things that I try to do with my clients is to make sure that we begin to create what is called an operational manual. And this is where we have in a booklet every job that needs to be done and the steps to take to get it done. Another thing I like to do is to make sure that we're reviewing all your financial statements and we understand where you're trying to take your business. If you know where you're trying to take your business, then you can start to implement steps and systems in place to make sure that you reach whatever milestone or goal that you're trying to reach. So it's very important to have systems in your business because they help you grow your business. They help you to understand the health of your business, and they help you to run your business effectively.
Wow. So so you really work with each business owner to make sure that they have a way and a place and some room to grow.
Yes. What we like to do here is if you're on one of our bookkeeping clients, then based on the package that you pick, you will have a certain amount of time each month to meet with us. And we usually meet virtual, either Skype or over the phone. And this is where we not only go over your financial information and we help you to understand what the numbers are trying to tell you, but we also help you to use those numbers. And when we sit down and we start talking and really going into your system, we begin to create strategies and steps to help you build your business. And you'll notice that by creating those strategies and steps, we're putting systems in place. So you're building your organizational manual by creating steps and strategies for you to build your business.
Now,
so within the next 3 to 6 months, my clients begin to really see a difference because now they have something to really go by.
And what would you say to someone who's a solo entrepreneur or they really don't have employees at this point? So they say, well, that's good for when I get the employees or have someone helping me, but right now it's just me, so I don't really need to worry about that.
I would say that that's not true. It's good to have systems even as a solo entrepreneur. Why? Because each time you bring in a new client, for example, instead of doing different things for each new client, you will have a system in place so you know once this client says, yes, I want to sign up for your service, then you would know what to do from point A to point B. You would know each and every time what's the next step after they agree, after they sign a contract, after you receive whatever you're doing, you're going to know what to do each step. Instead of client A coming, you do something different. Client B comes, you do something different. Client C comes in, and you do something different. You will know no matter how many clients you receive, no matter when they start, you'll know exactly what to do from point A to point B. You'll know exactly what to do to close a sale. You'll know what to do as far as your marketing. You'll know what steps to take for every job in your company, and you'll also know how to impact your organization financially.
So you had said something about marketing. So you actually get into a marketing plan with them, or it's just more just creating some systems so they have some organization thing so they know exactly where things are?
What I do as far as marketing is help them to create a budget. If they know what they want to do, then we'll look at the numbers as far as what is your budget, what is your goal, and we'll create a marketing budget for them to operate by. So I actually don't get into what you should do as far as what marketing channels. I just make sure that the numbers are in place so you'll know if you want to do Google Ads for the next 6 months, you'll know how much you need to spend on the Google Ads, and then you'll also know how that's going to affect your business financially as one. So I basically just work with the numbers regardless of what avenue or where you are in your business. I make sure the numbers are in place.
So you'll be the person that I can come to if I say I wanted to grow my business next year or 2 years from now by 30 or 40%. You actually sit down with me and we can run over the numbers to see how much more I would have to invest or advertise, or how much I would have to maybe bring on another staff member to handle that.
Yes.
That is a great service. And I really haven't talked to a lot of CPAs that offer those kind of detailed work with the numbers, especially in other parts of your business. So back to taxes, which, we're all scrunged over here. QuickBooks is very confusing, and I have tried it. Is there other programs that you recommend that not necessarily, because one thing I learned when I got my QuickBooks program is a lot of it didn't really apply to me.
Okay. Well, I can say that QuickBooks is the number one accounting software for small business owners, and that is because it's very user-friendly. But what I tell a lot of people that I meet is regardless of what software you're working with, whether it's QuickBooks, there's another one, Peachtree Accounting, regardless of what software you're working with, you have to have a basic knowledge of accounting in order to operate the software correctly, and also to ensure that your numbers are correct. Because if you're just going in and you're maybe cutting a check, you may not be coding that check to the correct account. Therefore, it's throwing all of the numbers off for your financials. So you have to have some basic accounting knowledge in order to make sure you're running the software correct. But it is the number one small business software, and it's very user-friendly. And what we do is we offer a QuickBooks training for those business owners that want to complete their books themselves.
Okay, so you actually would help somebody like myself who is in there and it's just totally confusing.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now, how do you help the small businesses with cash flow? Do you deal with cash flow? Because that's always one of the struggles for small businesses.
We do. One of the things that I like to do with the majority of my clients is create a cash flow budget. And each month we monitor that budget. And it's funny because I have clients that tell me when they're out and maybe they see something that they think they need in their business, they'll go to reach for their card and then they'll hear my voice saying, no, you don't need that, or that can wait, or they'll hear my voice saying, what are the numbers? No. And that makes me feel good, but I also find it funny too, because one thing I like to do is stay on my clients and really work with them to manage their cash flow effectively, because that's the number one thing. If you do not have the cash, you cannot operate your business. It takes money to make money. So we really work with a cash flow management budget, and we monitor it each month to make sure you're staying on the right track and to look at what are ways that you can reduce your expenses and increase your profit in your business.
So you have someone that's a startup, someone who came to you, they're ready to start a business. What 3 things you would set them up with right away?
If I met someone that was a startup, the number one thing I would ask is have they registered their business with the state and the IRS. Once that is done, the next step is for them to make